Welcome to our community forum. Yes, I'm Dave Clifton. I'll be your host for today's show. And this is produced and directed by ECAT, Easton Community Access Television. And when we have a community forum, we like to talk to many different nonprofit groups and organizations that certainly do good things, not only in the community, but they reach beyond to do good things in the world. It's also an opportunity for us to talk to individuals who share their time, their talent, their ideas, their resources, and whatever information they may have on certain causes that they may be involved with, and it may be certain projects as well as programs. So today we have two guests that are joining us. We have Michael Goldberg and his wife, Judi Goldberg. That's Judi with an I.
Yes.
And they're both here today to talk about a disease. It's called Mitochondrial. It's some people call it a disease. Some people refer to it as a disorder. But we're happy to have Michael here in the studio here at ECAT to tell us his story about how he got this horrific disease, how he's dealing with it. This guy not only has lots of information to share with us today, but he also wrote a book on it. And we'd like to be able to provide whatever awareness we can of this disease. And I think the best way to start off is to not only thank both you and Judi for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
We, by the way, are neighbors here in southeastern Mass.
Yes, we are.
And I wanted to ask you, Michael, if you could share with the audience what this disease is all about, how you got it, and how you're dealing with it.
Well, it's mitochondrial disease, and it's certainly a mouthful, and we didn't know what it was when I was first diagnosed as well. 2011, so I'm going back, about 8 years or so now, Judi? I started exhibiting symptoms in a work situation. I actually went completely blank and blind in my right eye. And from there, symptoms got much worse. Weakening of muscles, cognitive issues.
Do you still have sight issues?
I do.
that?
My left eye is more or less completely blank. I have heart issues. I had a heart valve replacement about 1.5 years ago now. My body can't regulate temperature. I'm heat intolerant. I have swallowing difficulties. They watch my liver. They watch my kidneys. What else are they watching?
Mobility issues.
Mobility issues. I use a scooter for distance. I use a cane. I used to use a walker. Through light exercise, I've gained a little bit back, but I work at it every single day, Dave. You live with me in the same condo development, so you've seen my struggles, you've seen my battles, you've seen us install a chairlift for me to get in and out of my home. You're on the condo board, so you're aware of a lot of the challenges and what, Judi and I have been through.
One good thing that you do have, I think, Michael, that's positive, is that you got Judi by your side at all times. And
True.
I've seen you at meetings, and I've seen her right there with you. And you certainly are handling it in a very positive way as a result. And I know that in some cases it's considered fatal.
It is. It's predominantly a children's and babies' disease. Adult onset is becoming more and more commonplace. And yeah, they're succumbing to the disease. And it's tragic. And that's why we decided to create a nonprofit, Hugs for Mito, which we're extremely proud of. We're doing incredibly good work.
It's our second year.
But we want people to understand, and I think this is very important, that we're not just advocates for mitochondrial disease, we're advocates for all rare disease. My doctor, Dr. Mel Cara, is Massachusetts General Hospital affiliated. And not only does she see patients, but she's a brilliant researcher and geneticist as well. And she deals with many, what I'm going to call complex diseases, rare diseases. The two terms are used interchangeably. And
I'm happy to say that the doctors in the hospitals in the Massachusetts area are outstanding. And
We're
how
very
lucky we
fortunate.
are
yeah, we're
to all
extremely
live in this area.
fortunate. And we, through different events, sales of books, t-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever it may be, we help to fund her research and projects that she may be involved in. And that is that's our give back. We don't take anything for ourselves, and we fund her. She's doing amazing work.
I think it's remarkable that you step up to the plate to do what you can to make other people aware of what it's all about. And the fact that you have the disease yourself and you're handling it in such a positive way. Judi, I know you're by his side at all times,
Right.
but tell us about the webpage.
Well, Michael created his own website called hugsformito.org, and he created it from scratch, and it's, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but it's, I'm pretty proud of him for what he's done. It tells you, it has blogs, you can write into him if you have a question. Of course, we don't give out medical advice. We're not doctors by any means. Someone to lend an ear. We sell products online, for our different campaigns. Our 1 in 10 campaign is our most recent.
Can I talk a little bit about the 1 in 10 campaign?
Go ahead.
Our 1 in 10 campaign, and it's a statistic online, nothing that we invented, but 1 in 10 are affected by a rare disease. And I was recently at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. It's called the ICA, International Chiropractors Association Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. And it takes place every March in Columbus, Ohio. And the event was conceived and created by Arnold Schwarzenegger and a very good friend and mentor of mine, Dr. Jack Barnathan. And I think it's very important to mention both of them because my very good friend, Dr. Jack, his network of people, they're lifestyle design professionals, meal style design professionals, and they help keep me on my feet. And it's an honor and privilege for me to be able to go there every year and speak about rare disease. And if you go around a room, Dave, and Dr. Jack did it and I did it at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you. That individual could have a rare disease.
Wow.
Could be
1
part
in
of your
10.
family, someone you know, and
That's 1 in 10 for the rare disease. And of course, I've heard the number 1 in 4,000 actually have.
for mitochondrial
Mitochondrial
disease.
disease.
So the statistics are incredibly,
Why don't you hold that shirt up on camera so people can
the
see it?
statistics are incredibly,
And it looks like it's big enough to fit an Arnold.
They come in all sizes, small through
incredibly
triple.
staggering. So it's something that, we put on, a sweatshirt. And I know I'm not supposed to have my phone on, but I want to arm people with as much information as possible. And we've been putting some slides out. This is some of the things we put out there on social media. And I won't take long with this because I really don't want to.
Certainly, Michael,
a
we're
lot
not,
of time.
we're not going to kick you out because you
But-
got your phone on, because
this
if
is
we kick you out, we
information-
don't have a show.
This is, this is information that I think is so important for people to know and why we work as advocates as hard as we work today. But, 1 in 10 people are affected by rare disease. 1 in 2 rare diseases don't have a foundation or research support group. 1 of 2 patients diagnosed with a rare disease is a child. 3 of 10 children with a rare disease don't live to see their 5th birthday. 350 million people suffer from a rare disease, globally greater than the population of the US. 8 in 10 rare diseases are caused by a faulty gene. 8 years, the average time it takes for rare disease patients to receive an accurate diagnosis. This one I put out today on social media. 95% of rare disease lack an FDA-approved treatment. I have 2 more that I'm going to be putting out this week on Wednesday and Friday. Rare diseases impact more people than cancer and AIDS combined. 7,000 types of rare diseases. Okay,
a
thanks
lot.
for allowing me to share that.
Tell our viewing audience, if you would, Michael, about when you noticed that you had this horrific disease.
In a work situation, I was working security at a mall at the time, and I went suddenly blank in my left eye. And from there, I think I was saying, muscle weakness and pain, it just gradually got worse. We had no idea what was going on with me. It was hospitals and doctors after that. I even went out to one of the best places for diagnosing diseases, whatever illness people may have, in the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, and they missed it. I finally hit upon a doctor here in the Massachusetts area, a pulmonologist, because I was having difficulty
Pulmonary, yeah.
breathing at the time. Dr. Karen Lahive, I'll mention her name. I don't mind mentioning her name at all. And she was wonderful. She said, have you ever heard of mitochondrial disease? And like everyone else, we were,
Mito who?
Mito what?
Yeah.
And
Who knew?
there were very few doctors specializing. We happened to find my doctor, Dr. Kara. And at the time, the gold standard was a muscle biopsy, so I had muscle biopsy done. And after that, it was gold standard now is blood work, so I've had full gene sequencing done, and there is a gene in me, and I have mitochondrial disease.
If you just joined us, folks, we're talking with Michael and Judi Goldberg. They're from the Easton area, and of course, Michael's talking about a very serious disease that he does have. They say that this is not just a single disease, but it's a series of conditions that are related to this disease.
It's a multi-symptom, multi-organ disease. Usually 3 organs or more are involved. If you line up 100 patients or 100 individuals,
Totally
each
different.
one can present differently. So anything from head to toe, it's a cellular disease, so they call it the energy disease. So anything with cells there can be affected. So that's basically all of you. So
This is not hereditary.
Your brain, it is
It is.
hereditary, and it can come from the mother and father.
Wow.
So cognitively, your brain can be affected. So I mean, I do have some cognitive issues now, such as short-term memory kind of issues. Like I said, muscles in me, gastrointestinal problems for some people.
I certainly
so-
don't recognize it, Michael, sitting here interviewing you. It sounds like you could give a lecture on this at any minute, and there's no doubt in my mind that outside of your mobility, I would not recognize that you had any issues at all.
Well, I've got an education that I certainly haven't wanted. I don't know if you remember back maybe a couple years or so, Dave, when I first started with the mitochondrial disease, I was probably a lot worse off than I am now. But I am where I'm at today because of all the hard work that I've put in. Because of, the network that I mentioned to you, Dr. Jack Bonathan's network, a lot of those people help me stay well. A lot of exercise, light exercise. I can't work out, say, for an hour, hour and a half at a time. I use 1 and 2 pounders. I can't lift heavy weight. It's watching what I eat. It's taking 3-hour naps every single day. There's a lot of things that people don't see. It's compensating for different things. Judi, I'm having a lot of difficulty with my hands. So when I hold a glass, you might see me cup it from underneath. So, there's things that you might not recognize that I compensate for every single day. That those are my issues.
Let's talk about the book that you wrote, Michael. If you hold that book up facing the camera, Judi, tell us about the book, and certainly
It's a book I wrote
where
called
can people get a copy?
I'll Have Mine Rare. It's about mitochondrial disease and rare disease, and we call it a children's book, but everyone I think can learn a lesson from it, and it's about fitting in and acceptance. And what else can I tell you about the book? It's wonderful.
Showing some of the diagram.
Some very good friends of mine helped me with it. Again, Dr. Jack and his network. Dr. Jack brought some very good people together to help me with it. A very good friend of mine, Stacy Boyer, helped bring the book together. A friend of hers and a friend of mine, Erin Nolan, wrote the back cover in her classroom, second grade classroom, illustrated all the pictures in it. I call them the whiz kids. The kids are
And Michael Goldberg,
fantastic.
where did you get the title? I know when I see the title, I think of
A
myself
steak.
ordering a steak medium rare, but you got it rare. Tell us about the title.
Well, it's kind of, it's a play on words, and I wanted something that, would stick in the minds of people, like a steak. Mitochondrial disease is a rare disease.
Right.
And I just wanted a title that was a little bit different, something that people would remember, and I think they remember I'll Have Mine Rare. We've done very well with the book. It's been very well received. Please, take a quick
And
look,
it's a great
Dave.
story. It's not just about mitochondrial disease. It's about children being accepted for anything
for who
that
they
may
are.
be different than the norm, so to speak.
And the children, when I was writing it, they were just so proud of it. They really illustrated my vision for the book to a T.
Each child had their own character that they followed through with the whole story.
And it's a children's book, and
Yes.
of course written by Michael H. Goldberg. H stands for humble. He's certainly a very humble guy, but I know that's not your real middle name. What is it?
Howard.
Howard. I know that there are folks out there that might be interested in hearing more about this, and certainly, how would they get a copy of this book, Judi?
We have it on our
You and
website,
Michael?
and you can also find it on Amazon, so we have it in
Yeah,
both
it's still on
places.
Amazon, and it's hugsformito.org. And it's a great story. Like I said, it's for all
We're on
children.
Facebook, we're on Instagram as well, so we certainly have quite a social media presence where we're out there.
The one thing that stands out in my mind as I sit here and interview Michael Goldberg, who has this devastating disease. I know I bounce around with that word, whether it's horrific or devastating, but if someone had to be in his shoes, would you be able to handle it the same way? And it's not just a disease that Michael has. It affects the family as well. And Judi, tell us about it.
It does. It changes. It's not what you plan for. That's what we always say. You have to live one day at a time and take one day at a time, because as you know from being in the neighborhood, he started out with the mobility issues, the vision issues, the mobility, not being able to do stairs. Never mind one chairlift he mentioned. We have 3. Because as you know, we're in a 3-level townhouse. And he all of a sudden lost his ability to go up and down stairs. What do? You can't just pick up and move. It's not always that easy. So we did the chairlifts, and that gave him his independence back, which is very important. His freedom to go. It was like being a prisoner in your own home, not being able to get outside by yourself. So it let him go out until he could walk it, once he could get down there with the walker. And it was a lot of different, making things work and tweaking different things. But he's worked really hard, and now The chairlifts are collecting a little dust. They're not moving so fast and so much, but that's okay. Because you never know, like we say, you never know what's going to be down the road. He's 54 years old.
But as devastating as this disease is for me, we like to keep the focus on, and this is where, you know, a big part of the passion is for Judi and I. Speak a little bit, because I don't want it all to come from me. Speak about the children too, Judi.
Oh,
I
you,
mean, it's
you see these
devastating
babies
for
that are
these
not
children
seeing
and
their
babies.
first birthday, never mind their 5th birthday, and they're born and from the get-go they start with such issues, the feeding tubes that are just forever, the not being able to breathe on their own, they're different. I mean, they're little, they can't fight. He's bigger, he can fight. He's he's developed, so to speak. You know what I mean?
What, are there special menus that you have to go by, Michael?
There isn't necessarily a special menu. I try to be as good as I can. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you that, yes, I cheat. I like a treat more than every once in a while. I like to live. I like to live my life. But, with this disease, you're more sedentary than you'd like to be, because you are zapped of a lot of your energy. That's the disease. It's your mitochondria, it's your cells, and it zaps your energy. That's what it does. So you do try to eat the best you can. The vegetables are good for you. Complex carbs. So you do want to try to be as good as you can. You're only going to benefit yourself, which is why I work with the people that I work with, because they're wonderful professionals and they do help to keep me on my feet.
If there's anybody out there in our viewing audience that has mitochondria and you're looking for help and support, whether it be for family or for neighbors or someone that you know, here's a couple right here, Mr. and Mrs. Goldberg, that would be happy to respond and encourage you regarding things that you could do to help yourself out or to help your neighbor out. I know I sound like I'm speaking for you to throw the word out there that yes, you folks are willing, but just by knowing you as neighbors, I know you're those kind of people that want to do what they can to help others. Most
definitely. That's the whole point of Hugs for Mito and for Michael and Judi, is creating awareness was the biggest thing, because we didn't know what mitochondrial disease was, so you had to do your own research.
And I think we've done a wonderful job, like
the
Judi
awareness
said, in
is
the
out
area
there.
Of awareness.
Advocacy.
We've come a long, long way, but I'll be honest, we really need people to, I don't like the word donate.
Funding.
I like the word fundraising, holding events, gifting, quote unquote. I like the word gifting. Mm-hmm. We need your help. We really do. Help us get ahead of the curve. Trust me, it can affect your family. I do not want it to affect your family like it's affected mine. And I don't know if Dave has anything else to add, but when I was at the Arnold, I did leave the room by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you. Don't let it be your family or someone you know. Help us, like I said, help us get ahead of it now. And I'll make that my plea.
If somebody out there wanted to provide some financial support, tell us the contact person, the number, maybe a webpage. You might want to repeat that to the viewing audience.
Well, certainly. I mean, we certainly take gifting, funding, whatever you want to call it, on hugsformito.org. That's the website that Michael created. Michael is your go-to contact.
Our address is there. Our telephone number
everything's
is
on the
there.
website.
We're on Instagram at Hugs for Mito. We're on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Michael.Goldberg1212.
Why don't you
we're out there.
repeat that again, Michael, if you would, just in case someone's driving while they're watching.
www.hugsformito.org. At Instagram at hugsformito, and Facebook www.facebook.com/Michael.Goldberg 1212.
Is there a telephone number they can call if they didn't
Sure,
get all that
absolutely.
information?
508-813-6794. You can contact me if you prefer. You don't like the telephone. On all the other places as well. I answer every email. I answer every instant
does.
message.
Everything.
I always get back to everyone.
For some of the parents out there, Michael, why don't you tell our viewing audience what some of the symptoms are for this disease so that they can kind of watch for it, or maybe they may see some things that they
They're
need to-
multiple, Dave, which makes it so difficult to diagnose. To sit here and list symptoms. Like I said, I'm not the medical professional. I really, I don't know if I can sit here and do that. I mean, it can start with a headache. I don't know if you can really sit here and list a bunch of
It's so hard to
symptoms. I mean,
diagnose.
like I said, for me, it started
With the vision loss.
in my eye
Left
with
eye.
vision loss. So you can't really, like I said, it's different for everyone. So to sit here and list symptoms, I don't know if you can really do that. But I guess if you're, experiencing, say, muscle weakness, or, if you're, I don't know, if your eyesight is
I
different.
mean, that could be sugar diabetes. Other symptoms
Exactly,
are kind of
it's,
related.
I mean,
That's when you go to the doctors.
I've had some friends of mine that have gotten in contact with me regarding themselves or their children that I did send to my doctor, and a couple turned out, believe it or not, in today's times that they had mitochondrial disease. A couple were told that they didn't. So, it really depends.
How does a guy like you, Michael Goldberg, keep yourself so positive
He is.
when you're dealing with this kind of a crisis? I know there's lots of people out there that would be asked to kind of seek God in your own way, or maybe find ways to keep yourself positive. How do you deal with this, Michael?
Some days, honestly, Dave, are easier than others. I'm human. I have my bad days, but I try to find the positive in helping others. That's what I think I'm meant to do. I always say to Judi and other people that I know, who would figure that I'd find my real passion in disease, in getting a disease. I never would have thought in a million years, but I think I really have. I've found my true passion. I found what I really love to do.
And at the same time, you're helping other people out, whether it be families that have young children, writing a book, being willing to respond to other people. There are some people that may have this disease at your age and sort of give up and are wondering,
I know a lot of
what
them.
can I do to help others out if I got the problem myself? But you, I think, are dealing with this in a positive way.
He'll tell you he has a lot of years ahead of him, he hopes, God willing, and he wants to enjoy his life. He's not done yet.
I'm not planning on going anywhere too soon. My mother always tells me only the good go young, and I'm not so good.
That's right.
I sit here in the studio, folks, and as I look at this guy, Michael, he looks like he could play on the defensive line for the New England Patriots. But he's able to handle this in such a positive way, and I think that's got to be good medicine for you. I think of some people who have Alzheimer's/dementia, and I know one guy in particular that was into music, and then he had memory loss, and then he couldn't remember his family members, but yet again he sat down at the piano and played 5 songs.
Isn't that something?
And you talk about music, men's minds. Well, this guy, Michael Goldberg, has found a way to try to help other people out, try to define the disease, and hopefully someday we may come up with a cure. And I hope that the cure happens sooner than later, Michael, so you can take advantage. It's a great way to say thank you to you for stepping up to the plate and coming here on a TV show in a local community and actually talking about it. And to have a wife, her name is Judi, it ends with an I. She has a smile on her face and doing what she can to help her husband out. What a
Listen,
terrific couple.
Thank you.
Any comments that you'd like to make? Any encouragement you'd like to make to folks out there that may be listening? And there may be, as you say, 1 out of 9 is hearing this cable cast. And you may just get a telephone call. And folks, if you don't remember the number of the webpage, you can call the studio here, ECAT, Easton Community Access Television, and they'd be happy to refer the person either to myself or to the Goldbergs. And I know that you folks have really stepped up to the plate, and I'm forever grateful for knowing you. And Judi, once again, why don't you repeat that book?
We have,
And that it's
I'll have
available
my,
for families that have small children. that
yep,
are
I'll have
concerned.
mine where Michael wrote it, and it's available on Amazon and also through hugsformito.org. It's a great children's story for any child, not just necessarily one that has a rare disease. It's being accepted and fitting in, and it's okay if you're not the straight down the road.
Very good. I like that.
And again, it seems that 1 in 4,000 people actually have this horrific disease. And the bad news, I should say the good news, is the fact that there's research that hopefully will continue to find out what we can do. The bad news is there's no cure right now
No.
for this disease. But on another positive note, we have a guy like Michael Goldberg, who lives here in the town of Easton, who his brain is functioning just like all of us, and he's using every positive moment that he has to try to break the news and make you aware of this disease, and encourage you to get as much help as you possibly can. Any final comment from Michael Goldberg?
Just one. If you're battling, keep battling.
Mm-hmm.
You can live productively. I'm living proof of it. And there is help out there. Just reach out for it like I have. You can make a difference. And Dave, I just want to thank you for having us today.
Yes, thank you.
We were thrilled to hear that you were the one that was going to be on the other end yesterday.
My pleasure to do this.
You're a wonderful man, and appreciate your time.
And I'd like to spread this a little bit. I do a radio show out of Providence, so
Wonderful.
I'll be talking with you about coming to the studio.
That would be fantastic.
And let's reach
Let's
out
hit
to
the road.
the people in Rhode Island, Southeast Massachusetts, and Connecticut. Any final comment you'd like to say about this handsome guy?
He is pretty cute.
Oh, I thought you were talking about you.
Just for people to realize that, you know what, the things that Michael has done in the past, you know, with the working out, the fitness, he has a black belt in Krav Maga, which they teach in the Israeli army. But you know what? He's not able to do that now. But hey, listen, he'd love to work his way back into doing more things that he did before, but he's plugging away, and he can, you know what, if you put your mind to it, like he says, he's going to accomplish everything that he wants to.
I'd like to take this opportunity once again to, on behalf of all the folks that are watching, to thank Michael and Judi Goldberg for being here with us today, and a special thank you to you, Michael, for sharing your experience, and for also making it a point to make what could be a negative situation into a very positive thing. We're all in the helping people business. Whether you know it or you don't know it, folks, you should be out there doing what you can to certainly help others. A special thank you to Kim, our producer, for
Yes, thank you,
today's
Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Cablecast. This has been a production of ECAT. Easton Community Access Television. I say to each and every one of you out there, go forth to serve. Do it with a smile on your face. And if you're going to do something to help someone out in a positive way, do it with the dignity that it deserves. Enjoy the week, and thank you for joining us here on Community Forum.